Okay, hi again. Today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. I see a lot of things online about 5 ways to detect this or 10 ways to know that, and I think those videos can be great. But one of the things that people have asked me a lot, and that honestly I've asked myself more than once, is how do you get even? As awful as that sounds, but I think it's an important question. Because if you've been through a relationship with somebody like this, if you've been in a toxic relationship, if you've been in a toxic marriage, then there's a good chance you've lost children, you've lost money, you've lost reputation, you've lost sanity. You'd swear you've lost years off your life. You know you've lost endless nights of sleep. You probably lost friends. You may have lost family. But so the cost is it's really hard to believe everything that it costs you to be in a relationship with somebody like this. And it's really hard to explain it to somebody who hasn't. So it's just a natural reaction, and I think it's an important question that a lot of people don't want to talk about. So I want to talk about it. I have a little bit of advice here, but I think it's useful. The first thing to do if you want to get even, don't think about getting even the way they hurt you. I mean, chances are you've been physically, emotionally, mentally, legally abused in ways that were not just painful, they were wrong. That's what makes the hurt, that's what makes the wound so painful to begin with. It isn't just what they take from you. It's that they take it by using justice and using truth and using people's faith in them and people's inability to believe that somebody could be lying about such things to their benefit. So in other words, they're doing truly evil, dark things in the name of good. Like my ex-wife claimed that I hit her, that I was physically abusive. She claimed that because she knew good people would come to defend any woman who's been hit in a relationship or marriage. So she was counting on the goodness in people to do something evil, even though she knew I was never the kind of man that would hurt her like that. So it just makes it even harder to deal with when you get hurt or you have something taken from you by these people. So it's a normal reaction. So the first thing I would say is don't try to get even on their terms, because unless you're an evil person, unless you found what they did to you to not be dark and deceptive and repulsive and pathetic, like I do, I consider those things. I don't think she outplayed me. I don't think she outsmarted me. I don't think she was just a better manipulator. I don't want to be a manipulator. I don't want to lie about her. I don't have to lie about her. I just need people to believe the truth, or I needed people to believe the truth. I wasn't trying to hurt her with a lie. I was trying to defend myself with the truth. And one of the key differences is I would never do to her what she did to me, even to somebody that I hated. But she would claim to love me and do these horrible things, and then look at it as evidence that she was somehow better than me because she got away with it. To me, that's like if I ambush somebody and hit them from behind, that doesn't make me a better fighter. That makes me a coward. It's the same way with these people, but they don't see it that way. They think if you're so dumb and trusting and loving and you care about people enough to be manipulated, then you must be weak. And after a long enough time, you start to think you must be weak. You're not weak. You're just not pathetic. But if you're not pathetic and you're willing to put yourself out there and be vulnerable, if you're willing to trust somebody and love somebody and leave yourself open to being hurt, that actually takes strength. That actually just means that you value relationships. It means you value people. It means you're willing to risk being hurt if that's what it takes to convince and to demonstrate true love. That's actual strength. So one of the things that's always bothered me is these people walking around thinking they're some kind of a step up in the evolutionary chain because they don't have a conscience. Being able to hurt somebody, rob somebody, ruin somebody, devastate somebody, kill somebody, leave them bloodied, wounded, paralyzed, and broken doesn't make you a genius. It doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you a coward. Sometimes it just means you're willing to do pathetic, repulsive, really just pitiful, pathetic things to another human being because it gave you some kind of an advantage. It gave you some extra money. It gave you some extra attention or power, and it stroked your pathetic ego enough to think that you must be superior because you can do this to so many people. It really just means you're probably the most pathetic person you know because you're willing to take so many things from so many people while pretending to be somebody else. So the first thing I would say, getting back to the point, don't try to get even with them on their terms. Because to do that, you'd have to become like them, and it's not worth it. The second thing, once you know the best way to get even is as close to justice as you can get. And sometimes that's not going to be very close. But just knowing that as soon as they know you're no longer willing to be manipulated by them, that's the closest thing to pain you'll ever be able to inflict on these people. Because it means a lot to them that they have a fool on a string that's not just a puppet, but it's an organic, live, thinking puppet that is so blind by love that they must be brilliant to be able to do all the horrible things to them and still have this idiot come back and line up and say, let's do it again. I was that idiot, so I'm allowed to say that. I was that idiot for years. So the first thing you can do is decide, no matter how you feel, no matter how many times that voice in your mind tells you, but this is true love, but what if we're close? But what if this is the last time? What if I walked away now, but she was really about to change, or he was really about to change? Because this time they really do seem sorry, and all the things we've gone through, it would have been for nothing. Yeah, that's right. It's for nothing. You just have to get to that point where you realize, all right, I've thrown away this many years, and I've thrown away this many chances, and I've taken this much abuse and pain, but I'm done. It'd be like realizing that pet rattlesnake, that pet rattlesnake that keeps biting you, is a rattlesnake. And it's not that it's confused, and it's not that you haven't tried to show it love, and it's not that you haven't pet it enough. It's that you've tried to pet a rattlesnake too many times. The only difference is that other person is a lot smarter and a lot more aware than a rattlesnake. So out of the two, the rattlesnake isn't actually evil. That person that's intentionally doing this to you repeatedly because you keep signing up for it again, they are. The first thing you can do to get back at them is decide no matter what you feel, you're going to go by what you know. And you're not going to do it anymore. That'll hurt them. But the third thing is, and this is important, protect yourself. Once you make that decision, don't be stupid enough to tell them to their face. When you have that eureka moment, when you finally realize, I can't take being hurt like this anymore. Don't be dumb enough to go to them and think, at least I owe them the honesty of looking them in the eye and telling them that I'm not going to do this anymore. Because all you're doing is signaling your own death. Once they know that you're really finished and you see them for who they are, they will set things up to torment you, to punish you, to make you pay for the decision. Because they look at you as beneath them. You are their plaything. You're their puppet. You've been there to serve. You've been there to kiss their rear end. You've been there to forgive the unforgivable. You've been there to take their abuse when they've had a bad day. You're that constant reminder to them that they're better than everybody else. So how dare you stick up for what you think are your own rights and your own self-respect? How do you have self-respect anyway? They have absolutely no respect for you. So they think you're out of place and out of line because you've suddenly found this respect for yourself that they can't figure out how you think you're worth it. So once you decide that you're done, which is the best way to punish them, the second way is to don't be dumb enough to tell them and start recording everything. Write it down. Record arguments on your phone. And don't say, how am I supposed to know there's going to be an argument? If you don't know when there's going to be an argument, you're probably not in an abusive relationship. If you are in an abusive relationship, here's how you know. Anytime you want to criticize or tell them they've hurt your feelings, buckle up. Anytime you've had a bad day, buckle up. Anytime life has been hard, one of you got laid off, I don't know, you need to get you got a flat tire, you disappoint them in any way. If you're in an abusive relationship, you know when it's coming. So before you start that conversation, record it. And again, going back to number one, you have to decide that you're done with it. Your that inner voice that makes you such a target for these people will come back and work against you. You'll hear that voice in your head say, you can't do that. It's not sincere. They think that you're really with them, and you're recording things. You're writing things down in a journal. You're taking note of the date when the abuse is happening. See, that's not really forgiveness, and you're not really trying, and you're not being sincere, and you're not being earnest, and you don't really love them, and you don't. Tell that voice to shut up, because that voice means you haven't done number one. And try to find that smart voice that says, I need to protect myself, because I think this person who's hit me, slapped me, insulted me, belittled me, degraded me, humiliated me time and time and time again, I think there's a chance that if they think I'm actually going to leave, they're going to do whatever they can to punish me. Because they will. And especially if you're a parent, for the love of God, please do what I'm saying if you're a parent. If you think that other person won't take your child away from you, won't try to turn your own family and friends against you, won't try to get you fired, won't turn off your cell phone, your insurance, wouldn't happily see you cast out into the street and labeled as a nut by everybody that you care about, you're out of your mind. They will. So if you don't do what I'm saying, you're setting yourself up for the final act. You're setting yourself up for that final unbearable amount of pain that you might not be able to recover from. So the second thing, once you decide for good, you're done, is to not tell them that you're done and start keeping record of everything. Number 3, excuse me. Number 3, get everyone together. They're definitely at the end. Get everything prepared and get everyone together. When you're finally ready to make that breakaway moment, have things lined up. Like I don't have any idea what happened with Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, but I know when she left, it happened so fast he didn't have a chance to stop it. He has a lot of connections depending on what you read and who you believe in the story. I'm not trying to get into that, but I will say that how she did it is the right way to do it. Don't give them any warning. Make sure you have your own money set up. Make sure that you have a safe place to go. Make sure that you have things documented. Make sure you have a lawyer. Make sure you have the papers filed if you need it. Make sure you either have a restraining order ready to go or you have the divorce papers ready to be served. Make sure that you put time and thought into how you do this. And then if it fits, have everybody that you know, both sides of the family and you, come together for a meeting and have them there. This will be the closest thing to revenge. And I'm not saying you should want revenge. That's not true. You should want revenge. It's normal. I'm not saying you should go after revenge. But sometimes this is needed, is to have a meeting with everybody that you know is involved. Because chances are they've been telling their friends, sometimes your friends too, friends of a couple, they'll tell one story too. They'll tell their family one story. They've been telling you one story. They'll tell their work one story. Anytime you can get multiple people from multiple sections of your life together and actually display the truth, especially if you've been recording things, and say, hey, this is what's really been going on. This is what our life has really been like. Like I save screenshots of the text. My ex used to say the most horrible things in the world, but then when we would get back together and make up, she'd make sure to delete all those texts from her phone and my phone. And I never saved them. Save them. Be willing to defend yourself, not because you want to destroy somebody, not because you want to make them pay for what they did to you. That just happens to be a side benefit that you may or may not want. But if you don't do those things, the torment they're causing you in the relationship will seem like a walk in the park compared to what they'll do to you when you decide to get out of it. And if you don't believe me, ask me for details. Find somebody else who's been through this. Do some reading. Imagine the worst thing they've done to you when they claimed you were the love of their life. And now imagine what they do to you when they view you as an enemy, because they will. As soon as they know that you see them for who they are, you're no longer safe for them. They'll do whatever it takes. So those are the 3 things. It's not really revenge, because chances are, if you've been hurt by one of these people, it's because you're not the kind of person that wants to cause somebody pain. And they know that. That's a good thing. Don't lose that. But sometimes you just want to know you can get at least a little sense of justice in this world. You will never get full justice until Judgment Day. But this is the closest you can get sometimes to at least feeling validated. And at the same time, protect yourself from being destroyed even more. Trust me, I lost everything. I lost my kids for a while. I lost my reputation. I lost my insurance. I lost my phone. I lost relatives that I still won't talk to because they knew the truth and they didn't say anything because it was just easier not to be involved. I don't want people like that in my life. If you don't want to stand up for the truth and you don't want to stand beside the person you know is innocent because it's just awkward for you, then I don't need you in my life and I don't have any respect for you. So have enough respect for yourself. Do the things that I'm talking about and just care enough about yourself to stop making excuses for somebody who has absolutely no concern for you at all. All right, that's about it. Thanks a lot. I'll be back with more soon. Give me a like and a subscribe if this has been of any use, and thanks for your time. And God bless. I'll be praying for you if you're going through this, because it's pretty horrible to go through. But you will get through it. Thanks.